And good evening, folks. This is the triumphant return of the Cold Takes podcast. That's right, we are back. We're going to smoke all other podcasts, so watch out. Tonight's special guest is a returning guest, YouTube sensation, Branden from Just the Gems. How you doing, Branden?
I am fantastic, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be back. I think was I the first guest on the original run of Cold Takes?
I think you were.
I'm even more honored to be the first guest on the relaunch. This is awesome. I was really sad that when it was gone, and now I'm really glad that it's back.
Yeah, I mean, there was basically like a constant racket going on of people asking for it to return. So we are back. Um,
Here it
you
is.
know, bottom line is, all right, we appreciate everyone that listens. But what the big thing was is though the podcast might not have been reaching thousands of people, it had 50 or 60 people that listened to it religiously and would talk to me about it and DM me about it. And I love that. It's a beautiful sense of community. So I'm glad to get back to that. And hell, maybe we will get thousands of listeners at some point here. But we'll see what happens. But speaking of getting thousands of viewers, the first thing I want to talk about is your recent incredible surge in YouTube. So,
Yes.
I would like you to tell us kind of what your YouTube journey's been like, how it started, and how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, good question. It's all kind of a blur these last couple of months. I've been very busy in my outside life as well, so everything has just kind of just been going and going and going. Um, but yeah, the way I started, I was really reluctant to even begin. I thought, nobody is gonna like who wants to watch another like there's a billion of these types of channels. Who cares, right? And that was but the thing is, like, I could answer my own question. I care because I watch those kinds of channels. So obviously there's people out there that watch this kind of stuff, right? But at the time I wasn't thinking that. So eventually I was like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna try it. So I just gave it a shot, and was really awkward. I've gone back and tried to kind of watch some of my first videos and just cringe. But I was putting it out there. I was trying to be regular about it. That was the thing for me, is like I want to put a video out every week, um, rain or shine, just make it happen. And I don't remember. I think it took me several months to get to 50 subscribers, and a lot of those were just like actual in real life friends and family members. So that 50 was maybe a little bit inflated. um but yeah, I just kept plugging away at it, and the reason that I did, I think, is just because I actually found that I enjoyed it, like the process of uh sitting down and making the videos. In the beginning I was primarily just off the cuff. I wasn't scripting. I was just kind of just sitting down and talking through whatever the topic was, and just really enjoyed that. And then even the editing, like, I use a weird program that nobody's ever heard of called Hit Film, to edit, and I just clicked with me in a way that other editing programs didn't. So I found that I really enjoyed editing, even like the more mechanical parts of video making I was enjoying. So because I was enjoying it, I didn't mind that I wasn't exploding. Not to, couple that with the fact that I didn't expect I was going to explode anyway. I figured I'll have this as a hobby for a few years, and that's whatever, it's fine. It's fun. Um, so yeah, I mean, I eventually, I don't know, it took me, I want to say it was like 11 months, when I crossed 1,000. Um, and I was actually on vacation when it happened. I was in Colorado Springs. I was about to go up. I was like on the trolley, on the tram, about to go up Pikes Peak, and I checked it, and it was at 1,000 at that moment. I was like, that's a perfect screenshot opportunity right there. So I had to get that. Um, and yeah, it was just I had a couple of videos that, for whatever reason, I mean, who understands how the YouTube gods work, whose favor they choose to show, like, it had grabbed a couple of my videos and boosted them, and that was enough to get me over you know, that initial hurdle of 1,000 or whatever. And yeah, from there, it took me 11 months to get to 1,000, and then things started to kind of exponentially grow for a while. So then it took me a month to get to 2,000, and then like 3.5 weeks to get to 3,000 from there. And things have kind of settled down now again. I'm at like 3,400 something right now. It's kind of settled down to a more I don't know, slower pace, similar to how my growth was in the very beginning, which is a few a day or whatever. But again, it's like you never know what video is gonna spike the algorithm. So I'm just gonna keep putting them out, I guess, and see what happens, you know.
I will always say one of the things I've always really enjoyed about your content was how you keep it very consistent with what you cover. But the amazing thing is, you're always covering the same realm of stuff, but you always come up with these unique ideas for lists that allow you to cover and talk about different games in like the JRP genre, for instance. I've never really like seen any of your videos and been like, oh, this doesn't feel fresh. So I definitely got to commend you on that. That you stay in this realm where your viewers will be interested, but you're never really retreading content, which is very refreshing because some channels do that. So
Well,
it's definitely
yeah.
cool to tune in every week when you have a new video out and you have something fresh but still familiar to listen to. Guys, if for some reason there is anyone in my subscribers here and my viewers that does not subscribe to this guy, you have to. He's
Well,
hilarious. He is timely in his coverage of new things, and he's also great with retro stuff. So I definitely would suggest checking out his channel. And so, Branden, with that, what is the future of your channel? Do you have any big projects that you're working on, or big things you got coming up?
yeah, very good question. I have a lot. First, I want to just I want to say thanks for all that you just said. And also, you uncovered my greatest fear, which is that I won't be able to think of any fresh ideas. That's my constant gnawing little fear in the back of my mind. But I think in terms of my longer term plans, what I want to do is I really like making reviews and videos about a particular game, even if it's not a full on review, just videos about a particular game. I also enjoy like the list style videos, but I want to find a balance between doing the list style and some more like focused content, if that makes sense. So like maybe I don't know, like maybe 2 list videos a month and then 2 other videos a month is kind of the cadence I want to get into and kind of alternate.
Nice.
So I mean that's a way for me to kind of satisfy the algorithm on one hand, because the algorithm does seem to favor these sorts of list based videos. At least in my limited experience over the last year or so, that those are the ones that have hit right. Um, so doing that, not just for the algorithm. Like if it was just for the algorithm and I didn't enjoy it, I don't think I would do it. But fortunately, I do enjoy that as well. But also, broadening what I cover to be able to focus in on things a little more tightly. But beyond that, big things coming down the pipeline. I've got a couple of very big and long in development collaborations in the works. One of which is, I think, knock on wood, ready to go, finished. Could be out as soon as the end of this week, but probably more likely next week. So that's coming soon. I don't want to say anything because I haven't talked to the person. I don't know if we're ready to announce it yet or anything. But that's coming very soon. And then another very big collaboration that I would put it like the 75% complete mark. So it all together amounts to about 4 videos spread across different channels that are in the works, and I've got some other collaborations, like smaller scale collaborations where I'm contributing with a bigger group, say, coming down the line as well. But I'm just, I don't know, I'm finding it so much fun to do these collaborations. Like I've done collaborations with you in the past, and those have been a blast. It might have been the first collaboration I ever did was with you. Now that I think about it, I think that's true. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm forgetting one, and I'm sorry if I am, but I'm pretty sure it was with Jay. Yeah, so I mean it's actually a ton of fun to like work with other people on creative projects. Who knew, you know?
Well, don't forget the Halloween special will be coming back this year.
Oh
And
yeah,
hopefully we'll have a return cast. So
I'm in.
stay tuned for that. Um, I'm still brainstorming a creepy idea for that, but we'll definitely have something for you. But it's
With
great to hear you get a lot of good projects coming down the pike. Always love to see you working with other creators. Getting a good mix of all your chemistries there. So that's pretty neat. So congratulations again on all your success. That's a huge deal. And I'm glad that I've been able to be part of some of it and to watch you grow. It's been really fun. So
yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, Jay, like this whole thing would not be what it is without you and your support, and your friendship has meant so much to me. And I just want everybody to know how awesome of a dude you are. If you guys are watching this and you somehow don't know that Jay's an awesome dude, get educated, because this dude's awesome. He's one of the best, honestly, honest to God, one of the best guys I've met. And yeah, I'm super thrilled to be your friend, be your collaborator, etc.
well, we'll continue the love fest here. I'll tell you a little story. There's been 2 or 3 times where I would get frustrated with YouTube or online content creation, Twitter, things like that. And I would reach out to people and kind of vent my frustrations. And this guy Branden has always been there, and he's probably talked me out of quitting more than once. So we wouldn't even be having this cold takes relaunch here if he didn't talk me out of quitting like 3 times in the last year. So thank you for that. And just the same, you're always very supportive. And like I said in my last games I played with because of friends video, you're always there. You're always quick to answer me and quick to offer your opinion and assistance on things. So much appreciated. But we get on to the next segment here, though. So we do have video game channel. So we talk about video games, and that means we play video games. And I think a lot of people get caught up in like the whole retro thing and making ideas for videos. And a lot of times I don't think that we're really talking about what we're currently playing.
Right.
So my question to you, Branden, say in the last month or two, what has your focus been in the things that you play when you have some quiet time, when you're not doing your band, doing your work, or making your awesome videos?
Yes, that I can answer that question with 2 words, and that's Final Fantasy. Because I have been, I've slowly made my way through Final Fantasy 16. I just finished that Saturday night, Sunday night, something like that. Very recently, finished it finally. It took me a long time because I like I said, alluded to earlier, I've been very busy with work and other things. So it's been slow going, but I loved the heck out of that game, man. Like, it was obviously very different than every other Final Fantasy that's come before it. But in a series like Final Fantasy, where there's like, there's turn-based games and there's active time games and there's freaking MMOs, like an action game doesn't shock me, so it's fine. I love the heck out of that game. I felt very I was very, I don't know. I had mixed feelings about the ending. But the game itself, I loved to death. And alongside that, on the PS5, I've gone back to the beginning, back to the roots, and I started playing through the Pixel Remaster on the Switch, the Final Fantasy One Pixel Remaster. And I got pretty far over the past couple of weeks, and then I guess I got used to modern gaming, and I forgot to save, and I had to shut the system off for some reason, to reboot it for, I don't know what the reason was. And I came back and I was like, I'd lost hours of gameplay. And I was like, we're just going to move on to Final Fantasy 2. We're going to give ourselves the consolation victory on Final Fantasy 1. We're going to say, we're good. We know what happens. And we're started Final Fantasy 2 this week. So we'll see how that goes. I never got anywhere in that game when they remade it on the PlayStation back in the 90s. So we'll see how it goes.
So when you said go back to the beginning on the PS5, I thought you were going to tell me you were playing Astro's Playroom. That was a fun little romp.
I played my fair share of Astro's Playroom for sure, but not recently. That's the key.
Mine is very easy.
Yeah.
And it's Octopath.
Oh yes.
I've been obsessively playing it over the last like 2 weeks. I'm actually on PTO this week and I'm putting a grotesque amount of time into it. My story with that is that I had played the original Octopath for a few hours and moved on to something else. I want to say probably like Engage or Xenoblade 3 or something came out, and I just stopped
Yeah.
what I was doing to play that. And I never went back to it. And when 2 came out, I was so excited by a few of the characters that I went right into 2. And I put about 10 or 15 hours into 2 before I stopped that because something else crazy came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was discussing with a friend about a week and a half ago, hey, let's play something that's not multiplayer, but let's play together and give each other like progress updates and stuff. And we decided on Octopath 1 as something that we had both started but not got very far into. We could start fresh and then discuss it. And I have blown past him. I want to say I'm at like 35 hours, and I love grinding. So I just got all like my second job situated and everything. But that's basically all I've been doing. I mean, I play different things on stream, for the Cold Crew, but more or less been playing Octopath. So
Yeah.
that being said, like a second part to that, what is probably the one release that's coming up in the next month or two that you're super stoked to start up?
The next month or two. Well, I know. So when is the Star Ocean 2 remake coming out? That might be November.
Yeah, that might be a little far.
So that's a little farther out there. Good question. Let me refresh myself here a little bit on what's even coming out.
Just load up your computer screen.
Yeah. My head has been so deep in the Final Fantasy mess for the last 2 months. I don't even know. I have no idea what's going on outside of that. You know what? One game that looks interesting that I'm hoping I can play with some people. I think it maybe has online multiplayer. Is Fae Farm. Have you seen anything about Fae Farm?
It does look pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. I might even be able to get my wife to play that with me. I'm not sure. That's a challenge. Got to find the games that tickle her fancy just right. The Super Mario RPG remake, of course, coming out in a couple months.
That should be fun.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one. And then possibly I'm gonna put this in the possibly category. Baldur's Gate 3. And the reason I say possibly is because I've never played a Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game like video game before. I've only played Dungeons and Dragons itself, like the actual game, maybe twice in my life. I enjoyed it. I don't know. I haven't been invited to many games. I don't know if maybe I smell bad, or maybe I'm too loud and rude or something. But yeah, I enjoy it, but I've just never really done it. But Baldur's Gate 3 is getting a lot of attention. And from what I've heard about it, I've never actually seen it in any gameplay, but it sounds very, very interesting. And I know it comes out on the PlayStation sometime next month, I think. So if I'm going to get it, it's probably going to be on the PlayStation 5 next month.
Well, sounds like fun. For me, Samba de Amigo. I've been waiting for it since they announced that on that like weird direct they had. And I love rhythm games, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. And a little further out, definitely Fashion Dreamer.
Oh, I remember that. I remember us talking about that when that was revealed in the direct.
Yeah, so that's hopefully where we'll launch our Cold Nights line of clothing.
The clothing line, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But Samba de Amigo was really fun, the original game, and this looks like it'll be a fun return to form. They're silly, kind of in the vein of like Parappa the Rappa, good stuff. So I'm excited for that. Everyone's going crazy about Starfield and all that. I know that my wife April's going crazy about it. I don't really have an interest. It'll be kind of like Final Fantasy was. Like I'll kind of watch what she's doing with it and decide if I want to get into it. Yeah. Oddly enough, like you were big into 16, having watched her, I'm not really interested. And I had to do a little research and getting video and stuff for one of our countdown lists we did of the sexiest men in Final Fantasy. So I learned a lot about the story. Just kind of researching that. So not that I really had anything spoiled too badly, but It's something I might be okay with watching her finish up. To me, it feels kind of like Final Fantasy 15, like not the same, obviously like easy going. It's obviously much darker and it's in a terrible world.
It's a
Um,
grimdark, grimdark fantasy adventure. Sure, yeah.
yeah, but I definitely it has the same feeling to me at least. Like
Mm.
I didn't play 15, I maybe played it for like an hour. I wasn't really interested. So I guess since probably 13, I've been kind of like a side Final Fantasy person. I loved Type Zero, and I've always loved the old stuff like Tactics and all that stuff. So maybe like a side Final Fantasy player. I played quite a lot of 14 online with my wife and with a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like the mainline stuff isn't really going in my direction anymore. But
Yeah,
to each their own.
they really have forked off in a different direction than I would have ever anticipated as a younger person. Like I figured that train was going to keep running the same direction forever. But que sera, I guess.
I would love to see a return to form because I even kind of felt the same way about the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Mm.
Like it was kind of fun to play through some of it, but it's something I think I'd rather watch people play than play myself. It doesn't have that same magic that was in the old turn-based games. So,
Sure.
that being said, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I will have a lot more with Branden from Just the Gems.
JRPGs are better than Western RPGs. Change my mind. You can't. JRPGs are better.
All right, folks, we are back with Branden from Just the Gems for the second half of the triumphant return of the Cold Takes podcast.
Hey, hey.
So we're going to get right into it. One of the things I definitely want to bring up, because Branden is definitely celebrating a pretty cool thing this week. I want to talk a little bit about these guys.
Yes.
Branden's incredible band that he is the frontman for. Branden, what have you guys been doing this week?
So this week, finally, after 3 or 4 years of work, we put out our new album, and yeah, we just hit all the digital storefront, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. today. And yeah, it's a big relief to finally have that thing out and ready for the world. Tell you that.
So I know that you did share it in the coldest Discord this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people were giving it very high praise. I had kind of a busy day today. I haven't got to listen to it yet. I loved your initial release you guys had, and I know that I had heard one of the songs from this album beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super excited to dive into that. But I'm kind of curious. How did your band get started? How did you guys meet? And what's the kind of future projection for you guys?
Yeah, we met in college. We all went to college together, and a couple of the bandmates are a year or two behind the rest of us. Me and the drummer are in the same year, graduated in 2007, and we started the band basically right after we graduated. So 2007 was when we started playing, and so that's, what is that, 16 years now that we've been doing it. You'd think there'd be more to show for it, wouldn't you? No, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, we've been playing together for a long time and putting out little kind of EPs and things, but this is really the first like, beefy full length album that we've ever put together. It's like 61 minutes of music. So yeah, it's a big deal for us to finally have something like this out.
Well, that's awesome. So, who for like a modern band, or someone somewhat modern, like who would you compare your sound and stylings to?
That's a good question. We've changed kind of our sound a little bit over the years. We started out as just an instrumental rock outfit, sort of in the vein of like Explosions in the Sky. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They were, I think it's safe to say, an inspiration for us in the beginning. Now it's like kind of a mix of some of that remains, and we have lyrics now. It's not just instrumental rock anymore. So there's a variety of influences from like, Phil Collins, Genesis to more modern acts like the Decemberists. So, as far as what we sound like, I don't know. It's tricky. The closest thing that I can think of is a band that nobody's heard of. It's a Japanese rock band called Jocho. They are the one that I found that feels most similar to our sound. I'm sure there are some. I'm just a dummy when it comes to finding new music because I'm middle-aged and I can't hear new music. I just can't hear it. I'd like you could put headphones on me. I don't hear it. I'm sorry. I don't know. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Well, that's pretty cool. I actually, when I was listening to your last release and that first song from this one that I'd heard, I actually was kind of reminded of Ben Folds 5.
Okay.
So I would say, and that's a good thing. That's a good
thing.
Yeah,
sure.
So.
Yeah. And actually it's funny you say that because my wife did make a similar comment when she heard at least one of the new songs off the album. So maybe that's a fair comparison then. If more than one person is saying it unprompted. So
I know that Ben Folds, like personally, isn't necessarily beloved, but they did make some great music, for sure. So that's pretty cool comparison there. So do you guys have any big plans? Are you going to take a little break and just kind of bask in it, or are you getting right to work on that next album?
We literally 2 days ago, just started writing for whatever's next. Nice. So yeah, we are on our way to whatever's coming next.
Now, are you still playing shows on a semi-regular basis?
We have not played as many shows recently as kind of since the pandemic. Like before the pandemic, we weren't the most like prolific out there playing shows every week, but we would play a show a month at least. So we were, fairly active. But since the pandemic, I can probably count on one hand the number of shows we played. I think 2 or 3 this year. So, we're hoping to get back into gear on that just because it's a lot of fun. We're also all middle-aged now and tired, and we don't want to play like a Thursday night show in downtown Chicago. That sounds like a nightmare to me. So we're a little more picky with the shows we accept. So that's part of it. But I think we do want to play more shows. Right now, we don't have anything lined up, so we're just kind of focusing on writing for the next album.
Well, that's pretty cool. I definitely look forward to checking out that release you had today very soon, and hopefully we'll have some cool new stuff in the pipeline too. So that being said, let's get to the next segment, and that is what we think are the games of the year so far. So Branden, I'm going to have you go ahead and start. So if you had to pick 3 games to nominate for game of the year so far, what would they be?
Final Fantasy 16 would be my first. I would put Fire Emblem Engage up there as well. And I don't know, I've heard some people talk about Xenoblade Future Redeemed, the DLC, as a potential Game of the Year nominee. I agree. I loved the heck out of that, and I think it's fantastic, and I think it deserves its own standalone release. I don't know if I consider it a full game. It's a DLC pack for an existing game, so I don't know if it counts. If it does count, sure, I'm gonna put it forward. But I might put like maybe even Octopath 2 up there as well. So I'll say Future Redeemed, and then runner up in case Future Redeemed is disqualified for not being a full game. Octopath 2.
And if you had to pick one of those as your personal game of the year, if the year ended right now, which would it be?
I think overall, probably Final Fantasy 16. Although it would be close with Future Redeemed because some of the story things that happened in Future Redeemed were things that I have been personally waiting for 25 years. Some of the stuff that Takahashi was able to do in that game, I have been waiting for 25 years. So that's a pretty significant thing for my inner child. But I really enjoyed the heck out of Final Fantasy 16 all the way through. So
good deal. So for me, the 3 I would go with would be Cereza and the Lost Demon, Fire Emblem Engage, and Tears of the Kingdom. I think that my game of the year would be Fire Emblem Engage, much to the chagrin of. I was arguing with some guy in YouTube comments on one of our pals' YouTube videos. He's one of those like hardcore Three Houses fanboys.
Sure.
That likes the Persona Fire Emblem. And I love Three Houses, right? I definitely enjoyed it. And it's probably actually time for another playthrough. But I just felt like Engage brought us back to the classic Fire Emblem. And I've heard a lot of people question the story. I honestly don't see it.
Yeah,
I
I'm with
actually
you.
like, as someone who's played through a lot of the Fire Emblem games, I don't know that many of them have a super deep, overarching, non-character specific story. Usually it's just bad ruler, or in this case, dragon, scary dragon man comes and you have to stop them. There's
Right.
individual character arcs that are deep in how they relate, but those are present in Fire Emblem Engage. But I think the story was told very much like something like Breath of the Wild, where there's only a small amount that's on the surface, but if you go through all of the character interactions and look into each character a little bit, there's actually quite a story. And if you beat it all the way through to the end, the epilogue, legit, like, I won't lie, I'm not embarrassed to say it, like, I cried for some of the parts of the epilogue. And I just love what it did for a lot of character tropes, like Alfred with the Prince Charming trope, and just so many great characters. And people are like, the story is bad, and I'm like, I honestly don't see what you're talking about.
It was such a feeling for me of like when I was a kid and started a new JRPG, like going on a big adventure, like just the fact that you're coming down to this world and you're just traveling around it, and it's so colorful and there's so many interesting characters. Like I thought that the story, even in and of itself, had some interesting twists in it. I mean, nothing that's gonna shatter the earth with its originality or uniqueness, but like just a really well told, fun story. So I can't see that as a negative in any way. Like I have limited Fire Emblem experience. My only experience with Fire Emblem is Engage and Three Houses. So I will say that I think I enjoyed Engage significantly more than I even enjoyed Three Houses. So it definitely tickled something for me.
As much as I love the social aspects of those things, I will honestly say that though it's fun at first, and the payoff can be fun when you get some of like the final scenes, a lot of time spent in the academy, I was kind of like, this is boring, I want to fight. Like, that's honest. And I know that may seem like sacrilege to people who joined during that because of the time that game was released.
Right.
I think it was a very tough time for our nation, and a lot of people were looking for something to do, and they latched onto that. And a lot of them were either only minor veterans of Fire Emblem or had not played at all. So if that's your first Fire Emblem, I think that you're going to look at Engaged in a very skewed way, because they are very much not the same game. And I would actually go as far as to say that I enjoyed Three Hopes more than I enjoyed Three Houses.
Oh,
because
interesting.
I do love the characters, but with the greater focus on the Muso and tactical style combat, and only a little bit on the character relationships, I definitely enjoyed that story presented there in that fashion even more than Three Houses. So I know a lot of people, that's a very special game to them. And I'm not like some people that want to rain on their parade and say their game is bad and I hate your game. No, I loved that game too, and I'm glad that you like it. But Fire Emblem Engage is really something special, in my opinion, at least, and it's game of the year. We'll see what happens with some of these releases that are coming out. I honestly can't imagine Starfield releasing in a state that isn't buggy
state.
and horrifying. I think it'll be a wonderful game, but I don't think it'll be game of the year. And honestly, like something like Samba de Amigo or Fashion Dreamer is not meant to be game of the year. They're bite-sized experiences. And that's why, even though I have Cereza on the list, and I probably actually enjoyed that game more than Engage, it's still a bite-sized experience. It's about like a 20-hour playthrough. I enjoyed it to death, and it actually helped me establish my streaming,
Right.
I had a huge group of people coming back like 2 weeks in a row to watch me play that. And that's where I kind of learned how to make all my custom overlays and stuff. Like the game got me really excited. So maybe emotionally and personally, that's my game of the year, but I still think it's kind of like too small of a release to be so. So definitely engage. But with that being said, always the fun part of the podcast, and we're definitely bringing it back for this new relaunched season here. We have the lightning round. Now, this guy's been through a couple lightning rounds, so we're going with a non-gaming lightning round this time. We're going to get to know Branden the dude.
All right.
Instead of Branden the gamer. So, he doesn't know these questions. They're all going to be surprises. And we've got plenty of time here to discuss all of his fun answers. So, without further ado, let's start.
All right.
So, one of the big things on all my streams and all my videos and everything is food. So, Branden, what is your favorite food?
Oh boy. I'm gonna say that it is maybe this sounds basic. I love hibachi steak. Just like the whole hibachi dinner is like my favorite thing. And it's a sometimes food, right? Like there's a lot and it's full of butter and it is so expensive, but like, oh, I love it so much. I love it so much.
Awesome. Very good. Mine's definitely pizza or hamburger helper.
Yeah.
All right. Your favorite fast food. What is your favorite fast food franchise?
Oh, favorite fast food. I don't know. I just had McDonald's tonight. That's all I can think of. I don't know. I guess it is McDonald's actually. That quarter pounder with cheese. It has been a staple since I was a little kid. So yeah, it's probably McDonald's if I'm being honest.
So is that your normal order? Like, what's your normal McDonald's order?
It is the quarter pounder with cheese and fries. That's it.
And what do you get to drink?
I usually don't. If I do, then it's just a Coke or whatever. But often I won't. Just skip the calories on the soda. You know,
McDonald's definitely has the best fountain sodas for sure.
Yeah, sure.
My favorite fast food I'd probably go with McDonald's as well. I think they're the most consistent.
Yeah.
It's consistently pretty good. Where Burger King or Wendy's, if you get them and they're super fresh, they're much better than McDonald's.
Yep.
But very often they're cold and gross and filled with hair and like toenail clippings.
Yeah. I used to like Wendy's a lot, but the Wendy's near us, the service has just gone downhill, and like you say, the food is very hit or miss. So it's like I don't even risk it anymore. Don't even risk it.
Thinking. All right. So, what is your favorite type of animal?
Oh,
No, we're not just talking about pets. Like your spirit animal, the coolest animal in the animal kingdom.
The fennec fox. I think I'm gonna say the fennec fox.
That is pretty cool. Mine is definitely zebras.
Oh, nice.
Maybe second would be polar bears.
Polar bears are cool too.
They're very terrible animals. But fennec fox, that's an interesting answer. Pretty neat. All right, who's your favorite actor or actress?
Bryan Cranston, maybe. I just eat that man's work up. I love it.
Nice. That's pretty cool. I would probably go with Robert De Niro, because he's been in so many movies that I adore. But I also like Lawrence Fishburne. He's really good too.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, so we'll go with De Niro there. All right, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, okay. I have two, but I guess I'll just pick one.
Well, you could say two. It's your
so
podcast.
my two favorite movies, and the reason I say I have two is because they keep one-upping each other in my mind, in my heart, is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Very good.
And Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Those are my two that are vying for the number one spot in my heart and keep overtaking each other.
Well, I'm going to give two as well because they're pretty much tied. And they're actually pretty linked because one is kind of inspired by the other. My first is The Shining.
Okay.
For sure. And my second one would probably be Us.
Oh, nice.
Which is very much inspired by The Shining. A lot of the camera work,
cinematography, yeah,
tropes
for sure.
in the film are Jordan Peele is very much inspired by The Shining, so I
Mhm.
definitely can see that, and I love both those films.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, we're always staying creepy, so we got to go
That's
with
right.
horror. Your favorite anime?
My favorite. That's hard. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, it would have been Cowboy Bebop. Um, Now it's probably something a little more mild, like Kokoro Connect. That might be, yeah, that might be my favorite right now as
Nice.
an adult.
I would say that my favorite anime series would be Bleach, hands down.
Interesting. Okay.
Very good stuff. We were like simulcasting it back when it was coming out, like episode by episode. Like it would come out on Japanese TV, and they had fan translators
Hmm.
that would have it translated by like the next morning,
Yeah.
and like up on all the illegal download sites. So that's what we were doing.
I say I say
That's,
interesting like it's a surprise. You have a bleach wall scroll behind you.
yeah.
Like it's not a surprise. Come on.
All right. So, what is your favorite anime film?
That would be um Spirited Away.
Well, at least we're in the same genre.
Yeah.
Mine is Arietti.
Oh, Secret World of Arietta. Yeah. Saw
I
that one in theaters. I love that.
adore it. Probably, and my runner-up would probably be something like Princess Mononoke.
Hmm.
So I think Ghibli, like our generation specifically, like we ate that up.
Hmm.
Um, both me and my wife are crazy into it, and we had like the whole Ghibli collection, and
Yeah.
like we went crazy for it. So that's
I,
pretty
I
cool.
also I also really love the films of Makoto Shinkai. Like he's a genius. His work is phenomenal. Like Your Name and Weathering with You is one of his newer ones. Like he's very, very good too.
Good deal. Good deal. What's your favorite color?
That's gonna be blue. That's gonna be blue.
Blue. What shade of blue though?
Um, a lighter, not super light blue, but like a mildly light blue.
Nice.
See that
Oh,
color of those LEDs back there? That's basically it.
the same color as that Sonic doll.
Yeah, yeah.
That thing is awesome. Is that handmade?
I don't. It's from a garage sale. I don't know. It was like 25 cents.
It does look pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Mine's definitely like a teal color.
Hmm.
I think that's because of like Renoa,
Oh, sure.
like that aqua teal blue she had. Um, all right, your favorite book of all time.
Oh boy, this is nerdy. But my favorite book is the first Mist novel,
Nice.
Mist, the Book of Atris. I That's probably the book I've read the most times in my life. I loved. I mean, I was so into Mist, as a teenager, and when I heard there were novels, I just went nuts. I just devoured them.
That's awesome. Mine's definitely the same as my movie, The Shining.
Nice. Yep.
And if I had to go with like a second one, if The Shining is already kind of taken up by the movie, it would be the Odd Thomas series by
Okay.
Dean Koontz.
Dean Koontz. Yeah.
Love that all, and I even love like the weird like half made for TV movie they made for it. But yeah, I was obsessed with that. So, your favorite TV series of all time?
Favorite of all time, I guess, would be Lost. I was the prime Lost fan. I did all the online stuff. I listened to the podcast back when podcasts were still kind of new, where they would talk about writing the show every week, and I
Nice.
was obsessed.
Wow. Do you ever wish they would like make another series or bring something back?
I'd be open to it, but I feel like they ended it on such a solid note that it's like I don't crave it. You know what I mean?
Right. I would say mine was I know it's like kind of like a cheap answer, but I adored Game of Thrones.
Mm.
I was the same way you were talking with that. Like I was parked in front of that TV. I'm trying to get like little snippets of the episodes and previews before it happened. And I remember through some of like the biggest fights, like we were like basically making bets at work. Like I remember one of the biggest ones was the Mountain versus the Viper.
Uh,
And I was like the hugest Viper fanboy. and I thought for sure he was gonna kill him.
Mhm.
And when the mountain just crushed his head like
Yeah.
that, I was like, oh, it was
I
terrible.
haven't seen Game of Thrones, but that's one of the few scenes, interestingly enough, that I have seen.
Yeah, it was very disturbing. I screamed as loud as his uh woman there when
Yeah.
his head was, I was like, no. And I would say secondarily, maybe I really liked 6 Feet Under. I don't know if you remember
Okay.
that,
I never saw it. I'm familiar with it, but I never actually saw it.
but that was good stuff.
Hmm.
All right, so this is a good one, but we got to follow the rules here. Your favorite YouTuber that's not in the Cold Crew. So it would have to be someone like not in our Discord. I don't want anybody getting jealous or weird.
Right, not in the Discord. I probably Phoenix Resale, actually.
Phoenix Resale, really?
Are you familiar with him?
I am.
He is so good at making videos. Like
Yeah.
he has the on-air personality for it, and the editing on his channel is so solid and funny. And yeah, I'm not a reseller. I don't care about any of that stuff. But I met him at a convention once, and I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "I don't resell, but like, I love it. Your stuff is fantastic. Like, I just get so much entertainment value out of just watching you do your stuff.
Nice. I would say that my favorite is probably Nexpo.
I'm not familiar with Nexpo.
Nexpo is like an in-depth look at like internet mysteries and horror things.
Oh,
Super popular. He blew up and got like millions of subscribers. Okay. He does a ton of collabs with like Eudoxia mysteries and all these like disaster shows and supernatural shows. Like it's really good. Super like almost like movie quality productions. Like he puts out a video maybe like every 3 months. But it's literally like an hour and a half. And you're basically like watching like a documentary on like real life horror and mysteries. Love it to death.
Okay, maybe you share that link with me when we're done here.
Like if you really get into it, you'll literally just binge it for like 2 days straight, and then you'll be like, "Shit, I gotta wait 3 months for this guy to put out another video." And it's really crazy though. Like he actually got into some like danger, because they were investigating like a child exploitation ring, and like people were coming after him. Like it was pretty crazy.
Interesting.
Like he was the good guy in that story.
Sure, yeah.
Right, yeah, like but yeah, Nexpo, definitely check it out.
Nexpo.
I would say probably for video game people, I really like Octavius King and I really like Retro Rick.
Yeah, Retro Rick was my first
Retro Rick style of videos. And Octavius, Sarah, she's a great content creator. Octavius is the character she plays. It's video game comedy.
Okay.
Like she covers a lot of retro stuff and even newer stuff, but it's always skits and comedy and like great special effects, like awesome. So definitely check those channels out.
Okay.
Your favorite style of music?
I would say some sort of melodic post-rock would be my preferred genre.
Translate that for us laymen.
Yeah, for folks that don't have the pretentious like hyper stylized genre names memorized. It's basically it's kind of a largely instrumental rock, but it can incorporate some elements of like math rock, so like really complicated time signatures. I find interesting, but I like it to be highly melodic, because if it's just all technical achievement in music, like it's very impressive that they can play that, but it doesn't sound appealing to me. I don't really want to listen to it. So bands that are able to do both the impressive technical performance as well as like an ear-pleasing melody chord progression, that's my thing.
Nice. I would say mine is probably I used to be really big into heavy metal. Like I love Metallica and Megadeth. And then now I'm kind of into more of like a little like EDM and a little bit of like electric rock and some harder electronic stuff like Rammstein and stuff like that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I do now.
Nice.
So this is a good one, only somewhat video game related, and I know you love talking about it. What is your favorite band or composer or musician that makes music for video games?
It's probably still Yasunori Mitsuda. He's been my favorite since I was, 14, 15 years old. And he's just, I love his melodies. He's a master at crafting memorable melodies. And I take a lot of personal inspiration from him for my work. My style of music is pretty heavily influenced by him.
Good deal. Mine's definitely Akira Yamaoka.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone can beat him.
Our band has an old song that we don't have on an album, but it was called Spencer, and then in parentheses it was with apologies to Mr. Yamaoka, because I basically ripped off a riff from Silent Hill 2.
Nice. That's awesome. All right. So what's one hobby you enjoy that is not gaming?
I mean, is it cheating to say music? Because that's probably what I spend most of my time doing if it's not gaming or video game or like video making related to gaming. It's probably music. Even when I'm not making music with the band, I'm making music by myself. I'm making background tracks for my video or just playing around on the piano or the guitar. I think that's probably how I spend most of my free time that's not engaged with this stuff.
Good deal. Mine would be sports card and Pokemon card and Magic card collecting.
Nice.
That's what I originally did. I've been doing that since I was like 8. So
Nice.
I still do it and spend too much money on it. But yeah. So here's one. How tall are you?
I'm about 6'1", I would say 6'1.5". It's between 6'1" and 2.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think most people know I'm the game giant. 6'8".
Yeah. You're like 6. I was going to say 6, 7, or 8, right?
All right. So how long have you and Jen been married?
We have been married.
I know you had a big anniversary recently, right?
We did. That's why I'm saying.
I hope she's not watching this.
It's 18 years was the most
awesome.
recent anniversary. So 18 years. Yep.
Good deal. So we got married in 2004.
Okay.
So we're just, I think, 1 year ahead of you.
You're 19 then.
Yeah.
Yep.
So long time. We're old people.
Yes, we are old.
Sure.
We started dating on my 20th birthday. I think as maybe a cheap way of getting me a real present, she asked me out. So we have my birthday's coming up next month, my 40th. So that will be our 20-year anniversary of being a couple. So that's exciting too.
Nice. Good deal. Yeah. We started back when we were like 17. So we've been together for more than 20, but
wow.
Yeah, for sure. Now, does Jen do video games quite as much as you do?
Not really. She likes, like Animal Crossing. She, hundreds of hours into Animal Crossing, New Horizons, especially over the pandemic. And she's done a little bit of like Stardew Valley, put a few dozen hours into that. But mostly she's not much on the gaming side.
Nice. Mine is very much so.
Right.
Probably just as much as me, but usually it's on Final Fantasy 14. I think she just woke up from a nap and is going to get ready for her raid night tonight. So
nice.
I hear her stirring over there. All right. Well, that concludes the lightning round. I think hopefully, the viewers and your fans got to know a little bit more about you. I tried to kind of think of things that you didn't cover in your subscriber special video. So hopefully they got a little new information there.
Nice.
We're getting right about to the end here. So normally at this time, I'll throw it back over to Branden, let him kind of go over his socials and, where you can find him, and then we'll wrap it up. So where can we find you, Branden?
Thank you, Jay. I am at Branden Johnson, BRANDEN, JOHNSON, Branden, not Brandon, Branden Johnson, basically everywhere. On Twitter or whatever the hell it's called now, on Threads, on Blue Sky, on Instagram. That's me. I'm just going by my real name. Just got it out there. Whatever, dox me. That's whatever. I'm basically everywhere as Branden Johnson.
Good deal. He's also a mayor.
Right after the Chicago mayoral elections, I was at a school district, because I work with school districts, doing a training, and somebody said, "Hey, congratulations on your election victory." I said, "Thank you."
Well, it certainly has been a blast to have you on, Mayor Johnson. Um, we certainly wish you luck in all your future band endeavors, and hopefully your YouTube channel keeps growing at that awesome clip. And once again, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it.
All right, good deal. Viewers, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to both me and Just the Gems. And remember, stay creepy.